Welcome back and Happy New Year to all the Hawthorne Entertainment viewers here. We started a couple different segments and we're about to dive into one of them right now. We're currently in the library, so if you see us looking
out the window,
we've got a big window here and people have been staring in and out, wondering what this big TV with podcast says on it and what it's for, but we're going to dive right in.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Excited. This is good times for Hawthorne, man.
This is good
times.
We were on a rookie shit in 2023, but kind of found our niche and we're going to dive in to get some more knowledge in here. So I think we should start off with this Ducks trade. So
pretty
Ducks guy. So
pretty big stuff.
Take over this.
Yeah. So shocking news came out a few days ago that my boy Jamie Drysdale, he's now been traded to the Philadelphia Flyers for actually 2022 fifth overall pick. Cutter Gauthier, if I'm saying that correctly.
I think so.
This guy, at first I said to myself, I don't know who this guy is. But then I watched the World Juniors. This guy was a stud in the World Juniors. He actually just won. He was the forward of the tournament, this past tournament, where USA did win gold and Canada sucked.
Yeah, it was not a good year for
disappointing.
But we're not going to talk about that because
we're moving over. We're salty. We're moving on. Whatever. But apparently this guy refused to play for the Flyers.
Oh, really?
Which shocks me because, Philly's like not the worst city you could be in, especially hockey town wise too.
Yeah,
I'd say. You got the Eagles there. You got the 76ers. Like it's a pretty good sport town. But they, good on the Flyers. They kept that on their radar. And with what I found too, he was able to play this past tournament, his stock went up. So the Ducks gave up Jamie Drysdale and a second round pick just for this forward, which at first I thought Drysdale in itself, because he's a stud defenseman, was too much. But honestly, now that I'm kind of seeing who this guy is,
you think it's going to work?
I think it should be okay. It'll be
the year of them kind of getting together.
Okay. So I think he'll finish his year. He's at Boston College right now. He'll finish out there. But if you think about it, Zegras, you got Leo Carlson, Mason McTavish. You're gonna have Cutter now. Those couple guys. Those are four gross forwards. Great. So a lot of good things for Anaheim, I think, to look forward to. I just hope they didn't give too much in, because Jamie's a defenseman and the Ducks suck at D. They currently have the third worst plus minus in the league at minus 34. But the gap to Chicago, who's second worst, is like 30 goals or something like that. So not the worst thing, but also not ideal. No. So it'll be interesting to see too. And we were talking about it earlier too. There's some rumors with Zegras maybe getting moved and stuff.
They're shopping around for him, eh? They've got interest to kind of get rid of him. Well, he hasn't been on tear this season. He's been making too many TikToks at Dixie. So you got to focus on your career, pal.
That's a good point.
Just wanted to put that out there. But moving on here, Nylander, who we all thought and kind of knew was going to get an extension, got an 8-year, $92 million extension.
11 and a half a year, man.
Yeah,
crazy.
That's crazy. But I think, it is a little bit just too much, but he is on a tear this season. Like
he is.
He's having one of his best years with the Leafs, and so is Matthews too. So if you have those two guys teared out for the next 8 years or so, you're going to have a pretty good team, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it does cover 13-14% of the Leafs cap.
Yeah.
So increasing it by $4.2 million next year, won't add that much flexibility for the Leafs, but between four guys with $45 million, it does add up.
Yeah, 45 out of the current 82, so more than 50% of the Leafs cap is in four guys. One of which John Tavares, which I'd honestly think the Leafs are going to move forward from their captain.
Yeah, I think he's gone to make Matthews a captain. I think that's their move for next year.
I think so too. I think he's gone, especially if they're. I think Marner's due in a few years for contract extension.
Yeah, I could see Marner being out of there too.
You think so?
I don't think he's done what he's able to do this year.
I think Willie's done more than he has too, but I think Willie. It's the thing with NHL players, man. These guys in their contract years, It's like they all become Wayne Gretzky. They all go put up these crazy numbers and they get these crazy good contracts, right? Like say Flames Huberdeau, guy had back-to-back crazy good years. He had the 100-plus point year with Florida, right? Gets traded to the Flames, then they sign him to some absolute absurd contract, right? And now he's garbage. So, and I think garbage is harsh. He just hasn't, found his role maybe quite yet. But it's spooky. It's spooky, especially with the GM and Brad Treliving. He's known to sign crazy contracts, and this is one. So, but I think too, a lot of money. There's a lot of players too that are coming up with contracts, like Elias Pettersson, who's very similar to William Nylander. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of contract he gets, because I think this actually just sets the floor and not the ceiling, especially with the cap increasing for Elias next year. So scary stuff coming our way.
A lot of big news, but speaking of big news, I guess we can all talk about the NHL's biggest new prodigy, Connor Bedard. His injury, according to TSN, he underwent surgery on Monday to repair his jaw. Wednesday now, so 2 days ago. He's expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks of hockey for his jaw fracture, and fortunately missed his first ever NHL All-Star game.
Yeah, which sucks too. He was the youngest to ever make an All-Star, which is, again, like, they have to pick at least one per team, and I guess there's no one else they're going to pick. But I'm also not going to say he wasn't deserving of it. Yeah. Sure, if every other team could have like multiple players and Chicago didn't have anyone, he probably wouldn't make it. But Connor's great, and honestly, I thought with the jaw, like the hit didn't look that bad.
No, that was the weird thing. People were calling it a soft hit that he left, and
it just, I think what the issue was, the height difference.
Yeah, he's what, 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah, I think he might be a little taller than that with the skates.
But I think skates, okay, yeah.
He just ate that guy's shoulder. But then I also thought, well, if it's a jaw injury, this guy's going to go back to wearing the fishbowl. And we all know fishbowl Connor Bedard in the World Juniors. Disgusting. So honestly, it sucks 6 to 8 weeks, like, for a jaw injury. Yeah. And honestly, he's a good looking guy. Don't know how that's going to affect things for him on that front, but that's not sporting talk. Yeah. But I don't know, I feel bad for the guy. Like, it sucks. It sucks for Chicago too.
Yeah, that was pretty much their whole season right there. Yeah. Well, they had Corey Perry for a bit, but he went did some things.
We're not talking about.
No, we're not talking about Corey Perry, but they have nobody else to kind of bring on the team, do anything with there. So
shaky future looking for Chicago. But you want, if they tank again? The tank again. There's some good guys coming up.
Yeah,
no media attention around some big guys, but there are some stars coming.
Who's the junior player that everybody had their eyes on?
Celebrini.
Celebrini. So apparently, Blackhawks right now have like the highest.
Yeah. So he's Celebrini. I think will probably So he's 17 right now. So draft either this year or next year. He looked great for Canada. Don't know much other than watching the World Juniors, but he's definitely a stud. But there's more guys like in European teams. Like Sweden had some really good young core, like young players at the World Juniors. I noticed this year, and actually the Finns surprised me too.
Finns, I did not think they were going to do that well.
I wouldn't even say young talent is coming straight from North America anymore, not from the States and not just from Canada. You got guys from Sweden. You got guys from Finland, right? Czechia has been a program that's getting better and better each and every year. They did beat Canada in the quarterfinals, and that they had gone up 2-0 on us very quickly. Well deserved for Czechs, and that makes me happy too. I guess as a Canadian fan too. I'd rather see them medal because they beat Canada. Other news too, I guess. Leafs have now recalled Samsonov. Shocking. Yeah. So they originally called up. They borrowed a guy from the Marlies, some Dennis guy.
What was his name again?
He's an
Dennis Hildeby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hildeby.
So they called him up while Samsonov was sent down, and he was put on waivers. And Samsonov's just been shaky all year. Yeah. But honestly, now you got Wolves coming back soon in a couple weeks, I believe. Martin Jones, I would like to give props. He's historically, I don't think he's been that great of a goalie, but he's been holding his own for the Leafs.
He's doing his part.
As theoretically the third string, right, behind their Samsonov, Wool, and Martin Jones. Yeah. I think he's doing just fine. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the entire league we were mentioning earlier, the entire league is kind of having goaltender troubles.
The whole league, man. Like, as a Sens fan, we've been having goaltender issues ever since Ben Bishop was traded. But even the Flames, Oilers, who was the other goalie that got sent down? Campbell?
Yeah, Campbell's
and he complained about him being sent down. And then his first HL game, he lost it too.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
It's just not a good year for tennies in the CHL right now.
But I feel like that also has something to say about teams, and especially like just like the development of these forwards and defensemen and like offensively in general.
Yep.
I feel like are getting a lot better. Like we've seen, like not to pick on the Sharks, but they've gone blown out 10-0. You rarely see in a year in hockey, like unless it's the World Juniors or like any midget level, 10 goals in an NHL game. Like to me,
it's pretty rare.
So but I get that's the Sharks, but like there's been some high scoring games this year, and so maybe goaltenders, their development's dropping off, and offensively players are like, let's get more aggressive. Maybe people are just making better shot selection, right? Like,
so do you think you could see next year or even the start of this year, since 2024 started, goalies coming back with like wider pads or wider pants? Because remember that was a thing a couple of years ago.
That was.
They started wearing lacrosse pants.
Yeah,
and that was a big.
It might not be a bad idea, but I think
I could see a rule change about.
Maybe there's one point they talked about net size wider too, right?
I remember that.
But I don't think the NHL would, because I think honestly, even though it sucks for goalies and how their save percentage looks, I think more goals, potentially the better, as long as it's not a 10-0 game.
Yeah, more goals are better, but a blowout is just, as a fan going to games, you just after like the 7th goal, you're probably like, oh, okay, we've already won the game, right? There's obviously you cheer for your team, but there's no real excitement. So I don't know, if I was a manager for any NHL team right now and I was giving a full reboot, I think I'd start strongly on the defensive and goaltending side before I pick forwards.
I think that's smart too. And like there are good goalies out there, and teams are definitely looking to make trades. Carolina is a team, they're a contender team that desperately needs goaltending, so they'll look to push. There's rumors that at one point John Gibson wanted out of Anaheim. For a team that gets destroyed, he does very well, but it's the Ducks defense that sucks, right? So I think you make a very good point there with
start with goalies, defense.
Yeah, defense and goalies, especially if you're a star-studded team on the forward end.
Yeah,
obviously it's hard with the money, like say with the Leafs, right? The issue is goaltending and defense, but because they're spending so much money on their forwards.
What I think they should start doing more is look at the younger goalies coming up, like the OHL, or even some of
I'd agree
the American colleges or Canadian universities. Like we go to Brock, and 2 years ago we had, or 2 or 3. We had Logan Thompson as our starting Brock goalie.
Yeah.
And then he ends up on Vegas winning a chip last year. I mean, he was injured. You've got all the older, kind of good talent just kind of drifting, floating out of the NHL, right?
Yeah.
Start looking at really young guys and building their potential, training them. I think you have a really good shot with that.
And actually, that's a good point too, because I think specifically the Flames have done a great job with. They've called up Wolf a couple times, and he's actually amongst my Calgarian friends and I. And family, he's like a fan favorite so far. And he's this, young guy that's playing for the Wranglers, so their AHL team. He's been consistently the best goalie in the AHL, but then he comes up to the NHL. He's been, he's definitely, there's been, no, I wouldn't say struggles, but he's done great for a guy that's barely gotten any, minutes. Like this year, he's only played a couple games. He's got a .958 save percentage. Like he's doing
insane.
Pretty good, right? And that was, but that's probably within a few 5 games, because Mark Strom was hurt for a short period of time. But injuries, you can't stop them from happening, right?
No,
especially with the goalies, especially with the lower body ones. You gotta be really careful with that, especially if you got like an absolute star goaltender like Vasilevsky. If he gets hurt, man, give him an extra month.
Well, didn't he just come back from it?
Yeah, he came back, and he hasn't been hurt since, but he had off-season surgery, I believe it was, on his back or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that, something pretty significant. But yeah, goaltending's struggle.
Yeah, it's not looking the best right now for this NHL season. From being a goalie and with my personal bias here, I think definitely start looking at younger talent and seeing how that goes.
Yeah. Or you could even give some vets a try too, right? Like Dallas Stars, we talked about too. They recalled Matt Murray. I have not seen that.
Yeah, Matt, that was crazy.
Since his Penguins days.
Yeah. No, he was on the Sens after that.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, because Rito's got the Sens jersey and he won't sell it to me. But
right.
I don't know why on earth he has that. But yeah, he was down in the AHL for the Texas Stars.
Yeah, so
that's their AHL team.
Yeah, that's a B League, yeah.
And then they brought him up. So I personally think I really liked him on the Sens. I don't think we should trade him. Yeah, he had his bad games.
Especially if you've got the goaltending issues. You just have to play around with it, right? Like, you never know. But you could have one guy that just suddenly holds his own, right? Maybe defense starts waking up. Like, I think defense will wake up when they realize, oh my God, we called up this like random kid from the AHL. We gotta like be on our best game. We don't want to ruin his like NHL debut or like something.
I'm sure that kid's like shitting himself too. He's so scared, so nervous for his first game. Doesn't want to unperform, right?
Correct.
But
I don't know. I think we're right. You're definitely right too with that. With the pick of teams need to start worrying about defense because like the forwards have gone so good individually wise, and now I find a lot of these cores have been together for a while. Like the Leafs core has been together for a long time now, so their chemistry is there. Right, whereas like a team like Chicago, there's no chemistry, but you got Connor Bedard, but like he can do whatever, right? But there's like, you still got teams like Tampa Bay, Kucherov. That guy's been unreal this year. He had a crazy assist the other night. So teams' chemistry is like really, it's a good thing in hockey, I think. But yeah, definitely goaltenders need some help.
Yeah, as from what I've learned from being a goalie for the last 8 years and what I've heard every season is that it starts from the net out.
Yeah.
The goalie makes a great first save, and then it kind of boosts team morale.
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing that this year, that momentum or saying. I think that should really be implicated, but I don't know. I'm just a goalie who plays intramural, so I don't really know too much. But, if you need my help.
This guy's ready for the league.
Yeah, I'll sign him one day for sure. Give me a contract. I'll pull up a picture here. Give me a contract. In other news, and my favorite team, the Ottawa Senators, have started allowing Pinto to back practice again. The gambler. After his
we like our gamblers here at Hawthorne Entertainment, baby. Let's go.
So, yeah, that's great to see. Only thing is, we need to let a couple guys go so we can pay him to stay on.
Is this
salary
agency year?
Yeah, and there's salary cap issues, and we're paying guys too much. But I don't know. I think honestly, as much as I want him back on a team, I don't think it's financially the smartest to.
Well, whatever. You could practice for a while, and then if the guy starts sucking, you send a guy down to waivers, and boom.
Yeah, but we can't play him this year. We have to let guys go, allow them to pay, so we can play him.
Oh, because you guys are that over?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Senators are in trouble.
Typical Ottawa.
Honestly. That's all we got?
That's all we got. We want to keep...
today, fellas.
We've got 3 different pods now. So do you have any NHL teams that have been hot this week or players that you got really high hopes for?
Honestly, no. I'd probably like to shout out the Kraken, though. Last night, they played great against Sabres, and they won me some money in a parlay. So shout out to them. That was a spooky bet. Honestly, Flames were waking up for a bit too. I think they lost to the Sens last night. I didn't double check.
Flames beat the Sens 6-3.
Oh, so Flames were down 2-1 then, and then the Flames came back. That's great. I'll take that any day. Take that any day of the week over this guy. But no, like honestly, like the league's been like I wouldn't say nonchalant, but the same stuff is still occurring. Yeah. Right? You got the Leafs who are like, they're doing good, but they'll lose to like one bad team once in a while and then like do good again.
I think every team's really just hit or miss, and when they miss hard.
Actually, I think the Oilers have been picking it up too. They started off so poorly. I think they panicked a little bit with the coaching change, right? You have now Leon Drysdale, who's coming up to, I think, wanting an extension soon, and that's going to be a doozy. It's going to be huge.
Do you think he's going to stay?
I think this is the year that decides that, because if they suck, then he might not stay.
He's out.
Because he's a start. But the thing is, it'll be interesting to see, for me, I don't know, not that he relies on McDavid, but those 2 guys on power play are like disgusting, right? So there's no one you can really compare to McDavid yet for that. So it'd be interesting to see how his career would kind of change without McDavid, without the Oilers. But at the same time, I wouldn't be opposed to him moving around.
Yeah, I think it could honestly be better for the guy too. Maybe get a different
get out of Edmonton.
Scenery.
No one likes Edmonton.
I mean, they both need to get out of Edmonton. It's not looking good at all.
I do definitely think this is do or die for the Oilers, and that's why they made that coaching change right after starting 1-8 or something on the year. So they have been picking it up, but I just find throughout the years, they just kind of had their fair share of bullshit, right?
since 04, I've always remembered the Oilers being as bad as the Sens, and I've never.
Yeah, well, they went through dark periods of time when we were kids.
Terribly dark periods.
But here,
of time.
here they are now. They're good, but again, goaltending problems. Skinner sucks. Jack Campbell sucked, and I don't think they've brought it back.
I don't think so.
So honestly, like, it just, their defense is shaky. Nurse needs to go. I think Darnell Nurse, that guy's getting a little too much money.
Start with the goalies.
Yeah,
get goalies first. Get defense. You've already got the great forwards you have.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the goalies. Get rid of the defense.
Yeah,
I say start from scratch.
Yeah, I'd agree too, and that should go for a lot of these teams who are, they'll win good games and they'll lose bad games. They need to teams need to wake up, and I think Oilers is one of those teams. But I think they're on pace for that right now.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be good to see.
Published
3 podcasts, one day. Where can you find it? Hawthorne Entertainment, baby. Thanks for tuning in, fellas.
We'll see you soon. Thank you.